What's up, you guys? Zach here from The Edit. Today we're going to be talking about how to do crazy cool time-lapse sky shots in your footage to make your scenes way more dynamic. So we're going to hop into The Edit. I'm going to show you what I did for the latest episode of my buddy's YouTube series, ZARK Life. You guys can take a look at it in the description below. We went to Athens and got to do a little bit of exploration. But let's hop into Premiere Pro and start playing around with this amazing, cool little trick. So to give you guys a bit of backdrop, essentially we have our shot here, which is, pretty cool and, I dig it, but I felt like there was a lot of the frame that was just white. There was not a lot going on, and maybe you will feel that in your shot. You're like, wow, it's a really dynamic shot. The sun's bursting through. It's a cool subject matter, but it doesn't feel like there's a lot of power to it. What a lot of movies do is they actually just do sky replacement, because think of it, sky is like half your frame when you're shooting outside. So if it's just white, half your frame is just pure white, blown out nothingness. So here's a way to enhance it to make it look just a little bit more epic. So what I have here in my viewer is a shot of this cool cloud time lapse. Now I have a link to it in the description below. It's just like royalty-free stock cloud stuff. You guys can download any sort of cloud time lapse. Does not have to be this one specifically. I just used it because it was free and it's really epic. But you can use your own and whatever. So find a good spot where you like the clouds doing their thing, their cool time lapse thing. I like this. It does a nice little fluffiness. Take that footage and drag and drop it over top of your original shot that you want time-lapsed. The next thing that you want to do is within this cloud time-lapse settings, you're going to go into your effects controls and go down to your blend mode. Now we're going to change our blend mode over to multiply. Multiply is going to create this essentially interesting masking that it does, where it will take your top footage and make it blend in with the highlights of your shot below. And then all the shadows will kind of burst out a little bit more. But as you can see, this would work, I guess, in something, but as you can tell, it just looks like it just disappears. But it just looks like some weird 90s music video. We don't want that. Next thing I'm gonna do is by creating a mask around ZARK here so that the clouds disappear within his chest, because that's what's not selling the effect 100%. So click onto your little pen tool here, and then we're just going to create a simple mask around him. Now the nice thing about doing masks, especially in multiply with the sky, is that it doesn't have to be super duper precise. So already we've got this mask, the sky is inside, it's inside his chest. Sounds like a little song. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna press invert and kablamo. Now the sky is outside and it looks really silly. What is going on here? That didn't work. This actually looks more like a 90s music video. The next thing you want to do is go into your cloud time-lapse settings, and then what I want to play around with now is the feather. So we're going to feather the crap out of it so it blends in a little bit more. That looks much nicer, but it's still just way too present. So the key to the success of this effect is by making sure your opacity settings are prim and proper, because the last thing you want is this crazy emphasized sky in the background, and then our characters they just kind of blend in with it, or they don't stand out enough. This is to make our subject stand out more, not the background. So what we're going to do is play around with our opacity. I'm going to lower it down actually to about 50%. So that looks a lot better. And now if we press play, woo, that looks super epic. I keep going to that weird outline thing. But if we press play here, that looks super duper epic. Everything looks way more awesome. And, we can even just stretch this out a little bit, just play it out a little bit longer. But as you can tell, it gives us more depth in the shot. But what we're getting a little bit here is that the clouds are kind of entering inside his chest in the shot. God, it sounds so weird. It sounds like I'm making a fantasy movie. What you can do is you can do a track mask here. So what I'm gonna do is just keyframe the mask path, and then clicking this, I'll be able to see the outline, and I'll just skim forward because it's a nice smooth shot. As you can see, it kind of escapes in, so we'll just slide it over so it stays perfectly inside. And now we've created a tracking mask so it stays inside. And boom, now it looks super duper epic. Now, the key to the success of this shot is the fact that when I shot it was really smooth. So I shot it on my gimbal. So doing any sort of mask tracking or making sure it stays within the lines, it was very easy. If I had a crazy handheld shot, this would be so much more difficult to do. And so the complexity of the shot really determines on the success of how you can do this in Premiere Pro. Now, if you want to achieve this 100% achievable, but you might have to go over to something like Adobe After Effects or something to make sure that your shot will stay stay tracked perfectly. And there's probably plenty of tutorials on tracking, but this is how you can do it in Premiere Pro to just beef up your shot, make your sky look a little bit more epic, and create a really dynamic, like fantasy slash like time-lapsing feeling in your footage. What I like about this effect and the reason why I utilized it is because we were in Athens for such a short period of time that I wanted to somehow express time going by and things flying past us in a quick motion. So I was able to utilize this cool time lapse in the background to create a time-lapse feeling while still continuing the footage that we have. And it's really dynamic because our foreground footage is in slow motion and our background footage is in a time-lapse mode. And you can use like that contrast in a lot of different things. It doesn't necessarily have to be the sky and our characters in the foreground. Anyway, that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to take a look at the full Athens video, there's a link to it in the description below. Love for you to take a look at it. Give me your feedback. Let me know what you thought about it. And yeah, thanks again for watching. Share this with all your filmmaking buddies who are maybe potentially interested in doing time-lapse sky replacement stuff. And if you like this video that much, give me a like, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have your support. Follow me along this filmmaking journey. If you want to learn more about filmmaking editing or my journey as a filmmaker, God, I'm saying filmmaking a lot. Thanks again for watching. Keep making great stuff, and I hope this helped you on your next movie. I'll see you later.